5:05 right now. Today, President Trump will mark Memorial Day by laying a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery.
Over the weekend, the president turned his focus to Russia's war on Ukraine, railing against Russian President Vladimir.
So indeed, Trump will be marking Memorial Day that way, but also a very different way, which is him losing his mind at his enemies. Welcome everybody to the morning show. It is Memorial Day. I hope you're doing wonderful. A day to honor and recognize those who have lost their lives in service of this great country. I think there's a lot of beautiful ways that you can mark such an occasion. Trump decided to do this in the most deranged fashion you could possibly imagine. But again, before getting into this post that he posted and then deleted and then reposted an altered version of it and so many different things and a lot of other news items, I just want to thank you again for being here on this Monday. A lot of you have been asking about the wedding. On the bonus show, I'll be talking about my brother's wedding, which was the cause of some output issues on the channel because I was focused on that, and it was an absolutely spectacular, beautiful wedding. And so we'll get into that on the bonus show. But here's me reporting on Trump's early morning Memorial Day screed, as they call it. Trump deletes and reposts lengthy Memorial Day screed, slamming scum Democrats. So I guess this was the one he originally posted. Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million. That is a million more every time he says it. We've gone from 8 million to 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of the being criminals and the menteo insane through an open border that only... How is he not drunk? He is sober and has never had drinks, apparently. So then he doesn't have an excuse, okay? These are the texts you send a friend at 3 a.m. and you say, we go tacos, miss, didn't see, love, bye. And then you wake up and you go, that's funny. I was trying to say we're getting tacos. I miss you. Love you. Didn't get to see you today. Goodbye. But Trump doesn't have an excuse. Let's start here again. Many of the being criminals and the menteo insane through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and release prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob murderers and rape again. What is wrong with him? Protected by these USA-hating judges who suffer from an ideology, that is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell. Happy Memorial Day. No, he didn't say that. That was the end of the post. Just the syntax, the grammar, the punctuation, the word choice. Early in the morning. There's no excuse. But I guess he posted that, as you can, or deleted that, as you can see, and then just posted, Happy Memorial Day. But, as Mediaite reports, Trump wasn't done, as the original post reappeared, this time fixing several typos and adding, but fear not, we have made great progress over the last 4 months, and America will soon be safe and great again. Happy Memorial Day, and God bless America. It's so weird. This is drunk behavior. But he doesn't get that excuse. And if that were the excuse, please don't tell me you're drunk at like 6 a.m, 7:20 in the morning. Don't be drunk that early / late. That's an absolute disaster. On Memorial Day, instead of, and I'm sure he's posting, we can see other Memorial Day items. Like he said, I'll be making a Memorial Day speech today at Arlington National Cemetery, 11 a.m. Enjoy. But then he's ranting about Harvard And yeah, no, that's kind of his Memorial Day message. He has hype videos for himself, but his Memorial Day message is, I hate the Democrats and they want you to be raped. Which we're going to talk about later in this morning's broadcast, the Democrats having one of these getaways where you talk about how you're going to win back voters, and they were talking about how they're going to win back men, young men. And some funny anecdotes came from that, but I just don't get why they don't. I wish that they would just proudly admit what Trump is saying, right? Because he's right. Is he not? That their goal is to have as many rapists, murderers, Minteo insane people in the countries. Like, I think as a Democrat, I'm just going to be upfront about that. Yeah, thank you, Trump, for identifying that. What we want, it's not increased healthcare, increased wages, protecting people's rights. No, it's more murderers. Even though under Biden, the homicide rate dropped like so fast, it was mind-blowing, which was kind of one of the annoying things about Biden, was that he was president while the murder rate was plummeting, and I was wanting it to go up because I feel like, do you know that weird, like, I see Nazis posted a lot. I don't know if it's a Nazi thing, but it's just a thing people say and just happens to be posted by them a lot. But again, those are unrelated thoughts. But it says, like, strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create strong men, and then strong men create good times again, right? And it's this nice little cycle. I'm sure I could pull that up. Strong men create good times. Let's see what we can find. Here we go. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men makes hard times. I love, like, the simplicity that goes into that. Hard times make strong men. Oh, make weak men. Hard times. It's like, good job. That's a fun little. Did you make that in class? That's a fun little chart. Look, and there's the arrows. Did you get your highlighter out? That's so good. I like it. No, I get it. No, it's good. It's cool. Did you come up with that yourself? Anyways, that. Oh, look, and there's other ones. Hard times. Great. Now you get the point. So, but I believe in that actually now. And that's why I think we need more murderers and rapists and drug dealers, and this is what Trump is telling us about ourselves. We just need to accept it. He's telling us about ourselves, and we're going to accept it, which is we live in this world where while Biden was president and before that, there were these plummeting crime rates. I mean, there's that big spike during the pandemic, and Trump handled that poorly, but whatever. Mostly we've seen large decreases in crime rates, and that definitely continued post-pandemic under Biden. And what I'm worried about is that's going to create a bunch of softies, right? Because people are going to be like, oh, I can walk down the street and not die. And once you start believing that, then all of a sudden you're identifying as a zebra, and you're a homosexual zebra. And we can't have, like, okay, would I rather homosexual zebras or less murder? I mean, homosexual giraffes, now that I can work with, okay? Homosexual zebras, it's like you got the weird stripe pattern and you're gay. Pick a lane, you know? It's a little much. So, my point is that Trump's right. No, that we are creating weak people. So we need to, the Democrats are right from Trump's characterization of them, that we're going to create weak people by making things better, so we might as well just make them worse. Now that I think about it, maybe it's not Democrats who believe that, and that's Trump's belief, because he does seem to be trying to make things much worse. Now, all that's to say, the straw man argument he makes against Democrats is absurd. Okay, if you missed that little boat, if you hopped on, you just heard me screaming, "I want murderers." It was the illustration of a point. I don't want murderers. I actually am proud to announce today, bravely. This is sorry, just 1 second. Just give me a second. This is exciting. I'm just worried about the backlash I'm gonna get, but it's okay. I know y'all. I've waited a long time for this, but I just want to make sure I get these words right. Luke Beasley, don't like murder or rape. Sincerely, Luke. I just thought if you have problems with it, go to contact form on the website. I don't know what to tell you. So that was crazy. But that was Trump's Memorial Day message. Now I want to talk about something very different. You all know Jordan Peterson, probably. He was, what was he? A psychologist, a professor, and he does philosophy. And he kind of went right wing. But in this Jubilee episode, who you're seeing on screen there is friend of the show, Parker, who goes by Parker Get a Job. And he had a back and forth with Jordan Peterson that was excruciating to watch for Jordan Peterson. Because I've heard people make very compelling arguments in the God debate. Jordan Peterson is apparently not one of them because he doesn't like to say whether he believes in God or not, but then he argues on the pro-God side of the equation, which is a strange thing. And so this has happened to me in debates before where you go, oh, so do you believe X, Y, or Z? And they go, well, what do you mean by believe? And you're like, oh, what? And then they go, well, what do you mean by X? What do you mean by Y? What do you mean by Z? And it's dishonest, but sometimes it works for people. Like a lot of you had that takeaway from my conversation with Tim Pool, where it was like, what, define blue, define the sky. What do you mean? And it's just sort of, what is this productive? Or can we go under the assumption that basic words mean the thing that we socially assume those basic words mean? Does that work for us or no? We got to go define the. And so that kind of played out here. The argument being debated is morality and purpose cannot be found within science. Jordan Peterson has that stance. Parker's, I guess, arguing against it, but it goes off the rails because Jordan doesn't want to define believe, or doesn't want to. I don't even know how to explain. He doesn't want to assume believe means what we all know believe means.
So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say
circular?
you believe?
And by the way, as we go through this, again, thank you to everyone joining us live or listening back on the podcast platforms on across platforms or on YouTube. If you're watching live and you become a member while we're live by clicking the join button on YouTube, I'll read your name out and thank you because it means a ton and it helps us do what we do. And then I'll be reading super chats as we go along as well. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to get your live show tickets if you're anywhere around Austin, Texas, by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/live or clicking the link in the description. We're going to have on July 5th a time and a half.
So do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say
circular?
you believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said you think it to be true.
All right. So if
What's
you
a
believe
belief?
something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it. That's what I mean by that. It isn't something that you say. It isn't something that's associated with logical consistency. It's not declarative. It's not propositional. It's not a figment of your imagination.
So this is what you call barfing words. But more than that, You are not meaningful or a philosopher or adding value to discourse on issues if it is clear that your sole intent of speaking is to intellectually arouse yourself, intellectually pleasure yourself, intellectually play with yourself. You're not doing anything. And that's what a lot of people do. They're speaking, they're like, oh, I sound so smart. And they're not actually accomplishing any meaningful dialogue. Like, what does believe mean? Fine to ask for clarification, but then to try to define it as believe, that term, when someone says, do you believe in God, or do you believe he is the all good, whatever was listed there by Parker. Well, believe has to mean you would stake your life on it. What? I believe that Jaden's a good guy. I don't know if I'd stake my life on it. He's disappointed. Okay, that's a bad example. I'd stake my life for you, man. I'd do it, okay? I'd do it. I'd stake my life on it. But I believe I like cheeseburgers, but maybe you put something else in my mouth and a different food would be better. I think the best thing in the world is P. Terry's Burgers in Texas, but maybe there's a food I haven't tried yet and I'm wrong. I don't know, but I believe I want to stake my life on it. If you said you believe that it's the best food in the world, yeah, I do. And I've gone to nice meals before, okay? So y'all chill, but I like near fast food burgers better. Jared Frank asked, is Clean Beautiful Cole absent today? He is. So he was helping out yesterday with the wedding festivities. And so I said, Cole, take the day off. Anyways, we're continuing.
It's the presupposition of your attention and your action. And you're either fragmented, in which case you worship multiple gods, or there's some unity at the bottom of it that makes you an unstoppable force.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
how would you define belief? Something you say?
Can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your life?
Don't be so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life?
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
No, can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
Hey, Jordan. You're making us all feel a little weird. This is creepy. I can't imagine Parker sitting across the table. Do you think they're just having a discussion. Do you think... Oh, I love this so much. It's only 4 minutes. I want it to be longer. Do you think that at any point in time lying would be necessary or could save someone's life? Yeah, I bet you think that, you little sinner. You little sick sinner. You're probably a pervert, huh? You probably lied and tell people sick things. You have sex with them. That's what you want, isn't it? Sex. That's all you want. You want sex all the time, you pervert. You want sex on the train and sex in the truck, and you want sex in the car. And you want sex on the beach, and you want sex in a desert. So believe. What does believe mean? Gosh, Jordan, you're creepy. Watch this again. And he does his jaw. He's like, and you seeped in sin.
I lied to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
No, can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're in Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them,
example.
Would you lie to the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical, and it's not.
No, Jordan! You can't. How has he been around this long? This microphone did not like me tugging it up over there to speak to you so closely. I'm sorry. Hopefully everything's still coming through clearly. How are you in the biz this long and you still don't know how to prevent being cornered like that. Don't get cornered into a situation where you have to defend the argument, which is not the original argument, but defend the argument. It's never necessary to lie. Because there's so many easy examples. The Nazi Germany one is a brilliant example to bring up, to which Jordan Peterson says, I would have done everything I bloody well could have to not find myself in that situation. What the does that mean? Yeah, hey, Jewish people in Nazi Germany. Why'd you find yourself in that situation? Is that the argument Jordan's making? Or people who housed and hid Jewish folks in Nazi Germany? What were they supposed to do differently? That's the best thing they could have done. It's mind-bending. Oh, what would I have done in Nazi Germany? Okay. Well, I would have found a different situation. Here's what I would have done. So, I would have gone to Hitler, and I would have said, Adolf, can I call you Addie? Addie, would you cut it out. Let's not do that. And I would have said, hey, Addie, I have this sister, and she's all right, but she has this problem where she eats actual granite. And she just eats it, right? And so no one likes her because she'll walk into your house and she'll just start eating your granite. Like it's actually kind of impressive if you think about it. Like, how did you even get that in your, I don't know. But she will, and she'll eat it, and then I'm not even going to describe how it comes back out at the event. But it's this obsession of hers. And she, a Jewish person, was really nice to her about it. So, does that make sense to you, Adolf? So maybe don't do any bad things. That's what I would have done instead of lying. I would have just told the truth. And I would have convinced Adolf Hitler not to do what he did. And then this hypothetical is destroyed. Oh, get owned! That's the Jordan Peterson logic right now. That's the logic. There's none of it. I would have not been in Nazi Germany. Well, that's not how this argument works, Jay.
I'll give you an example. If you're in Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic, and you're trying to protect them,
example.
Would you lie to the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical, and it's not answerable.
You can't answer hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that because
Did
it's
you eat
far.
today?
Look.
Did you
Don't
eat today?
play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm just asking if you ate it today.
If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
Being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about, there could be a Jewish friend that you have, and you want to protect them.
I think you should just give up on that line of questioning.
Give up on just trying to clarify your position.
I'm in pain. I can't watch this all at once. This is brutal. I would have... Oh. What was he feeling in that moment? Just... Maybe he's so up his own rear that he can't really tell that he's bombing really hard, but the argument is morality and purpose cannot be found within science. That's what he's supposed to be arguing for. And now he's backed into having to say, I would have prevented myself from getting in a situation where I would have to lie to Nazis about housing Jewish people and hiding them from the Nazis. I would have not made the bad decisions to get there, is his statement. You better bloody get off with that line of questioning. This is not going well for you. You're playing games. Oh, wow.
Because you
I
don't
did
like, are you like
clarify.
uncomfortable with me asking this question? It's just a basic hypothetical. Like I could ask you.
It's just a basic
Yeah, yeah.
hypothetical
Like,
where
like,
you
if you
put Jews' lives at stake in Nazi Germany. That's just a basic hypothetical.
obviously you would lie in that scenario to save their life, but you're like not trying to answer this question for some reason.
I just told you why.
Are you anti-fascist? Like, so you're
Why are
anti-fascist?
you asking that?
I was just asking, just clarifying. But like, okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because you know it shows that you clearly would lie to save
I'm
someone's life.
answering it in
Obviously,
a
that's
manner
not
you
what truth
don't
is.
find acceptable.
Obviously, because I care about
you're-
truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Obviously, right? Logically, because that's
No.
already happened. Like that's in the past. You don't have a time travel device. We're bringing this logical hypothetical up to show you that in some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually how we're typically using it. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to muddy the waters when I ask you, like, do you believe this? Do you think this to be true? So you don't actually have to answer the questions. And plenty of Christians don't like that because they clearly see that you don't really like want to be associated with
I can
Christianity with that
imagine
respect.
that I was in a situation where the best I could do as a consequence of my previous mistakes was to tell the least amount of lie I could manage. But that would likely indicate that I had made all sorts of catastrophic errors on my way there.
Yeah, Jordan would have talked Hitler out of it before he ever would have had to get to the lying. Do you not understand, Parker? You seem confused. Your hypothetical doesn't make sense because if he were alive back then, he would have prevented it. So, boom.
So you
Right.
would lie to save someone's life. So again, you do believe it to be true in that circumstance, even though you like lied in that scenario. So
Not
clearly that's not
without
what
the
you see to be true.
context that I put it in.
You were not willing to
I
die for it.
said-
You were not willing to let other people die for it. So that's not what you see to be true then, seemingly.
You're doing exactly what I said you were doing at the beginning of the conversation. You're generating an impossible, restricted, hypothetical with no precursors to back me into a
How's
corner.
it possible? Is there something contradictory about it? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Yeah.
Well, there's almost, nothing impossible about his hypothetical. Wait. It's almost like his question is about something that happened. So let me ask you a different way. It's not a hypothetical. People who hid Jewish folks from Nazis, the real accounts of that happening, and lied to Nazis, was that immoral? That's not a hypothetical. That's a question about something that happened and your moral judgment of it. So no hypothetical. But when you start hearing, sometimes it's true people can create ridiculous hypothetical frameworks, but most of the time you can kind of assume if someone's complaining about, oh, well, that's not, well, I won't engage in hypothetical, then they're not serious. Batman has been a member for 3 months, saying thank you for all you do and wish the married couple many happy years. Thank you so much. Speaking of the marriage, I danced like you would not believe. Okay? Again, if you're just joining us live, my brother's wedding was yesterday, and it just a happy day, a happy time for our family. And I have a new sister-in-law, and she is amazing. But I danced. I think you forget how sweaty you can get from dancing, especially when you're in shoes that, because it looked better like this, you got them like a size too small. And so your toes are dying, but you're dancing because that's what you do, right? You kiss the bride. Everyone's happy. You drink, you dance. And so it's really a miracle that I'm here this morning. I got to be honest. Kudos to me. Because far too recently I was drinking and dancing, and now I'm here. But I was sopping wet by the end of it, if you can imagine. Just sweat from head to toe. And I was thinking, this was a really good workout. What if I danced, just danced, and that was my cardio for the day? But I realized it would be less fun by yourself, because I feel like it's the interacting with people that kind of keeps it exciting. But I'm sore. I'm literally sore from jumping. It was a great wedding. They're going to have many happy years, hopefully. All of the years, hopefully. That's my wish for them as well. All right, one other Jordan Peterson moment. And again, if while we're live you become a member and support the work we do by clicking the join button on YouTube, I will read out your name.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
how do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression
private.
I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Well, listen, Jordan's really bad at defending his stance. Also, I gotta be honest, even though I get the argument was good, but put this back up. Don't love the vibe. Don't like this guy's vibe. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. I did like that it's at Jordan Peterson, because Jordan does a lot of the woke moralists getting triggered all the time, but then he's so easily triggered, and so it's very interesting to see. But that was maybe not the most productive back and forth. But it is weird that he's arguing on behalf of the pro-Christian side, but he won't say he's a Christian. Why not? If you are arguing for people to be Christian, are you not a Christian? Batman sent a gifted membership. Thank you so much. I appreciate it greatly. Okay, this one's probably my favorite story we're going to talk about today. The New York Times runs brutal report on top Democrats gathering at luxury hotels to discuss $20 million plan for speaking with American men. Hi. Are you a man? Do you like boobs? We're the Democratic Party, and we're cool now. Don't worry. Fishing, boats, boobs, beers. We're the Democratic Party. We drink beer too. The New York Times published a hard-hitting report Sunday laying out the ways in which President Trump has monetized his office. But the Gray Lady didn't exactly let Democrats off the hook Sunday, as they also ran a devastating feature on the party's efforts to win back young male voters. Let's start with this part. The prospectus for one new $20 million effort obtained by the Times aims to reverse the erosion of the Democratic support among young men, especially online. Good. Its codename, SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan. Now, cut away from this for a second, Jaden. First, let me say thank you so much to Rachel Kiesler for becoming a member. I appreciate it greatly. But first off, you're thinking, what are they going to invest in outreach on college campuses? Or are they going to try to support, I don't even know logistically how you do this, but try to win over the support or send surrogates onto more centrist podcast platforms to make the case for the Democratic agenda? Are they going to study? All right, I can do it. Ready? And promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. So honestly, some of this is totally great. It's so funny to picture people at hotels sitting being like, how do we win back young men? Yes, to bring another cocktail. How do we win back young men? The men, what are they like? How do they want to be spoken to? You know what we could do? We could study their syntax. The syntax. Let's see. Let's see if ChatGPT can support us on that. Give me examples of common Gen Z male phrases. While that's cooking, I will continue forward and check in on how ChatGPT does with that. But just imagining them starting to use like Gen Z terms just to after a report. General slang, right? All right, the Democratic Party has spent $20 million to understand the young, the youth, and the men, and the males, the penis holders. They have figured them out. Here we go. Hello, young men. Bet. No cap. We here at the Democratic Party have Riz. We don't think that you're an NPC. Wow, Republicans just got ratioed. It's giving failure. One of the things it listed was bruh. Bruh. Is bruh still a thing? Bruh. And then it has dead ass. You dead ass wore Crocs to the wedding? Is the example they gave me. Thank you, ChatGPT. You dead ass wore Crocs to the wedding? No cap. And it gives the definition. This is so cute. Seriously / for real. Yeah, so maybe this $20 million studying will teach them some of those phrases and they can win over young men. That's what I imagine. Now, it might be better than that because this part's true. Above all, we must shift from a moralizing tone. Yeah, I mean, kinda. It's tough because sometimes you're just saying something that's true, but it feels moralizing. Like, back when I did the podcast with Isabella, I would say, "Oh, you're wrong about this subject," and she would say, "You're speaking down to me, whatever, or you're moralizing," and you come off sort of pretentious. Okay, well, how do I say that you're wrong without sounding that way? But I guess speaking to people who aren't our competitors, but instead we're trying to win over, maybe it's easier to be like, "Oh, I'm listening," and it's less of an argument. All right, a lot of different notifications coming in before we go further. Musty, manure man? Manorman? Thank you so much for becoming a member. Sorry if I botched that. I appreciate it greatly. Rachel Atwood said, if I had a chance, I'd ask the world to dance. And then she leaves on a cliffhanger. But yeah, I'd as well. Those are lyrics though, right? Anthony Moore became a member. Thank you so much. And then Jaden's also sending me other comments that I'm going to choose not to read because he's setting me up again. I know you're sick, Games. I know you're sick, Games. You're drenched in sin, aren't you?
Legalized comedy. Sorry, I'm trying to do the soundboard since
Cole's
not
Cole's
here.
out. Mr. McCarthy, who lives in Alabama congressional district that is often ranked the nation's most conservative, cautioned against taking the wrong lessons from any successes in 2026 because he said the party's brand is repellent in so much of the country. The 2022 midterms masked the Biden problem. A good 2026 midterm, we should not let that mask a deeper problem. That's true because people don't care as much about the national brand of a party when it comes to these individual congressional races. And so I'm expecting with free and fair elections that Democrats will sweep in the midterms because people are going to want to fight back against what Trump is doing. But does that mean a national candidate is necessarily in 2028 going to be strong? No. And so these problems do have to be fixed. I don't know. This is the word that really panics me, okay? Syntax and language. I don't know why that makes me uncomfortable. Them investing in studying the syntax and language of young men. Something just feels off and cringy. I feel like they're going to do what I did with ChatGPT. I'm worried they are, okay? And that won't work. But if they do run ads in places that aren't just on television, online more, that's great. Now, the biggest thing is going to be, like, Bernie went on, and Pete Buttigieg went on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz. It's going to be individual people who have a good messaging ability, who come off as normal, and who advocate the position. We need to stop thinking. This is what, if you could close that door, Jade, that'd be great. We need to stop thinking that these what's the correct word? Kind of fancy, bougie, expensive studies and reports on how to reach people is the way. And sometimes we'll characterize what happened on the right wing as that to make ourselves feel better, sort of conspiratorially. Like, oh, there was this masterful effort by Trump where he got all of these podcasters to swing in his direction, and they all coordinated, and the Republican Party bought off all these people, and then there was this mafia of Rogan-associated podcasters who all changed the election. No, they authentically, because of social media algorithms and because of their own belief system and because of the climate in the country, all individually actually shifted towards MAGA. And so then they were just sharing their views, and it was helping Trump, tragically. It wasn't the Republican Party thought of a perfect coordinated effort to swing online culture in Trump's direction. That's not what happened. And so for Democrats, it's going to be stop being so weird and out of touch and being at fancy hotels where you make fancy plans to start saying Riz, okay? Let's actually, maybe y'all should just go away. I mean, maybe some of you, because you're kind of bad at this. Like, whoever's telling Chuck Schumer he should still be the leader of the party in the Senate, what are you doing? Get away. Goodbye. We need something different. And there's an opportunity for that. And if they botch it, I'm going to lose my mind. If they botch the Trump era, which is the chance for an alternative to manifest, people are going to want an alternative to Trump. So give it to them. But don't give them the same sloppy seconds you've been giving us for years. Okay? Give us something better. Take the best of what was there, some real achievements under Democratic governance in recent years, but strip out all the worst of it. But I'm worried they're not going to change the systemic problems. The deeper issues are going to be, as was referenced in this article, distracted from by a positive midterm performance because people are voting for their individual candidate and they'll like individual candidates across the ballot. But the general brand of the party won't be fixed. And then 2028 may not go the way that it needs to go. My gosh, we already are in the worst situation, but we can't have another 4 years of MAGA, whoever they end up running. But if we're not changing those systemic things, we're not allowing for new leaders to rise up, and we're just going to run ads on video games or start speaking like the kids do, you're going to keep losing. And I don't want that. And so, honestly, the best thing they could do is go find the best messengers in the party. And the people who judges, and even Bernie's really great at connecting with people in those casual environments. And then beg them to go on as many shows as possible. Because those conversations, it refines and you learn what people are talking about, what people are concerned with. And then, yeah, you can advertise in different places and meet people where they are. But do you know this is my point about Trump's message was just god-awful. It was terrible. He's terrible all these ways. But my point about the authentic shift of these online figures is that they just got convinced that the message of Trump made sense. So Democrats just need to put out a strong message properly such that people feel comfortable because the leaders representing that message are cool and normal and authentic and explain their policy vision powerfully. And then prominent figures will feel more comfortable shifting their way towards the Democratic Party again. I'll say I have criticisms of Bernie, but he is one of the few politicians. So the other politicians who are thinking about running for president or something, they need to examine why this is. And I think it's utter authenticity from Bernie Sanders, which is that right-wing figures, left-wing figures, centrist figures, no matter what people think of his policies, they believe him to be authentic and trustworthy. And when he went on Andrew Schultz's podcast and was described as the only honest politician. And so that, him actually putting forward a bold policy vision, even with certain aspects that I would tweak, and his branding of socialist, I would, but he's compelling to people because he's genuine. And so I don't know if we're going to expensive report our way out of the lack of authenticity problem that the Democratic Party has, right? I think you're going the wrong direction a little bit. And instead, people who do believe, or honestly, who have the correct policies and the correct message, they just need to be the ones then directing the ship. These weird, out-of-touch, rich people at luxurious hotels thinking of plans, you're the wrong people. Because you don't know even how to speak human languages, as shown by you having to study it. How do normal people talk? Mr. Uber driver. Excuse me. How do you talk? Can you talk to me so I can hear how a normal person talks? Interesting. Okay. I just don't know. Crossing Fine Lines, thank you so much for becoming a member. Nikki, thank you for the super chat saying thanks for the giggles, Luke. I always enjoy your videos. I appreciate that greatly. Let Them Eat Cake gifted a membership. Thank you so much to you. My goodness, these are flying in. Bilbo Jenkins said, I think we deserve a pic of wet dancing Luke. Bilbo. Pam said the problem with syntax is that it's only repackaging a failed message in more appealing paper. Dems need to truly embrace the progressive movement. Let me circle back to that. I agree. Projects by Jay said, perfect world, what are your minimum expectations for drastic political reform? I want $0 elections and lies punished. That's too long for today, but a good start from what you mentioned. Mary, thank you for the super chat. Anthony, thank you for the gifted memberships. Let me just quickly say, I agree Democrats need to embrace bold, example being universal health care, raising the minimum wage, paid family leave, universal child care, universal pre-K, etc. Extremely strong pro-worker and pro-union policies. And the list just goes on and on and on. But the messaging does matter. So you have these bold policies, good. And then on top of that, you need to be moderate in your messaging. Does that make sense? I know this sounds kind of contradictory. For example, screaming about how some of the extreme identity politics stuff can distract from a very systemic, universally beneficial policy vision. So stop with that. And other niche issues that get obsessed with, stop with it. And so like the term progressive, a lot of baggage is attached to it because people see it as just the endless culture warriors. But that's not what it needs to be. And the systemic reform we're talking about has nothing to do with those debates that will be going on until we all die, just so you know. So we're not going to win or lose. They're just going to keep going on forever. And we need to protect people's dignity and defend people when necessary. And also keep our eye on the foundational systemic change ball. I was sent this. I'm not going to say by who, but this is hilarious. This is the world's first live sperm race held in Los Angeles.
Downtown LA's night scene exploding Friday with an event billed as the world's first sperm race. 4 contestants came with the goal to win $10,000 in bragging rights for the strongest, fastest semen.
I want to build Olympics for sperm.
Eric Zhu is one of the sperm racing organizers. With the help of wealthy investors, the 17-year-old Bay Area high school student and entrepreneur launching this epic competition to raise awareness on male fertility health.
The general public doesn't talk about it because it's so taboo.
The contenders, who were handpicked out of dozens of young men, were given money each week to train their mind, bodies, and diets ahead of the viral, sold-out marathon. The competitors' sperm put into a microscopic racetrack. And then they're off. The sperm literally captured on this screen, swimming to the finish line.
That's fun. So here's imagine someone in my life, okay, sending that to me with the description. What do you think it was? Because I'm gonna connect this back to the story we were talking about before. What do you think? Mine would have won. That was the caption. They just sent me, hey, here's a video, interesting. Mine would have won. Okay. How's life been for the last 3 years? Like, what? Hi. I'm doing well also. Weird. Okay. Mine would have won. But this is how we reach young men, you know? This is how we reach the next generation, sperm races. Because at the end of the day, really whittled, because they're thinking about how do we reach men, how do we connect with them. Think about the 2 things that every man wants, okay? They want to win, and they want good sperm. And so I think the Democratic Party, don't do $20 million for figuring out what, some phrase means, but instead give me the $20 million. I'll keep 10 of it, to be honest. But I'll spend the other 10 sponsoring a tour around America of sperm races. And what happens is you do the race, but then you kind of weave in political messages, right? Like, that sperm deserves to win like you deserve healthcare. Go Democrats, right? Like, just, I think it could work because you could have an MC and Bernie comes out and he's like, everyone should have good sperm, just like everyone should have a fair living wage. I think it could be good. I think you think I'm kidding. I'm saying put on, because there was this story about Democrats hosting voter turnout events where there was music and they handed out, I don't even know if this is true. I think it was probably a right-wing rumor, but people got in their head. They were handing out birth control and drinks and condoms or something like that. Just a bunch of things that people would enjoy. Sort of the bare necessities. Like whenever you're thinking if my house burned down, what do you get? Condoms, birth control. You just you keep it simple. Alcohol. Just Tito's, Trojans. That's all you need. Boom. No. And then you go find your dog. But I think this is actually better because what you could do, there's a you know how MAGA has really become obsessed with UFC, and so there's this cultural, Trump walks into the stadium, people are cheering, it's cool, it's manly. Then young men, they associate punching person with Trump and punching person strong, so Trump's strong, right? There's that kind of imagery association. I think something similar could happen with the sperm races where you have, since I think we should run Biden in 2028, you have Biden come out and so the sperm race happens, so people are thinking sperm, cool, race, fun, and then Biden comes out and he's like, listen folks, it's the United States of America. And everyone goes crazy. They go crazy. And they're like, wait, I didn't think I would want this, but I think we should run him again. I think he should be president again. And all because the sperm races. So I think that might be how we reach young men. We do sponsored sperm races across the country in stadiums like this one. And then you get like a prize. And people now associate cool with the Democratic Party. See, I didn't need $20 million to do that. I just figured it out. And okay, maybe one time you say that sperm has roots. Like one time. Because you did the whole report. So you want to at least incorporate one of, oh, you just got handed an L. Right? Like one time. Maybe twice. Just so you don't waste the money on the report. Oh my gosh, John, thank you so much. Adrian said, I've been a fan for years. Glad to see you hitting 1.32 million subscribers. I'm so glad you're getting the audience your opinions deserve. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much. Paul, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you greatly. Let's close with, first, a wise statement from Russell, and second, another song that a fan sent us about Trump.
Look, I would say to you this: there's a limit to what even good men can achieve in bad systems, right? Don't you think? There's a limit. Is that what you would say? Look.
Yeah. I was thinking about that recently. Who is listening to him? Like, put this back. Why do I need to see so much of your chest? I don't know why I need to see so much of your chest. It's very weird. Very weird. Okay. Well, thanks, Russell. Now, let's close with Blaine Bowman sent in this song, because we created that AI Caroline Levitt song about how she's a liar. And I don't know if this is AI. I think it is probably. But so now people have been sending in other AI songs. And obviously you don't need to cut to this, Jane. So let's listen. If this works, let's see. Let's just see here for a second. Let's just all hold our horses. Hey. Let's do it.
Tiny hands, big scams, bankrupt brands. Trump steaks raw like his half-baked plans. Tariffs hit hard, stock market crash. Blame Biden quick, then dipped in cash. Spray tan leaking, orange in the rain. Hair like a toupee, caught on a train. Coffee buzzing, tweets in a spin. Stable genius, can't spell win. He's huge, tremendous, believe it fake news. Golf king ducking, got nothing to lose. Economy wobble, ego got...
This was me last night.
Talks like a brawler, but walks in confused. Stormy nights, hush check cleared.
We could reach young men with that. Hey, you like that groove? Do you like that beat, boys? Like, why am I not the ambassador for the Democratic Party? I could totally win over you. Watch, ready? Hi, boys. Do you like that sick beat? Well, you'd think that the policies are sick that we have. Yeah. Yeah.
Putin gets praised while allies sneered. Sharpie maps, facts and flames. Tried to draw borders like Monopoly games. Inject bleach, that's the fix. COVID briefings full of trick.
Thank you, Blaine. Well, that's where we'll leave it. Everyone. What a morning broadcast. I think they're better when I'm deliriously tired. Do you know what I mean? Talk to you next time.